At this point, man, if you don't see the truth, if you don't see the obvious, plain simple fact that Triple H does not have a single creative cell in his brain, then I don't even know what to tell you. I'm not going to waste a single second here. I'm just going to get straight to the point. Let me start off by asking you a question. What was notable on last night's Raw, huh? Like what, Rollins and Cody's promo segment? And what else? Roman Reigns' return? Like, that's it, right? And, I get it. Those are the top two stories going on Raw right now. So it's only fair that these are the, key moments from the show. I get that and all, but let me raise you an issue. Because when you really think about it, or not even really think about it, because this requires a critical thinking of a 5-year-old. So when you actually use your common sense, you're going to realize that this is just Triple H being creatively bankrupt, copy and pasting storylines so he can rely on past success to get something great today. Now, let me start off by talking about Roman's return. Obviously, elephant in the room. How many returns is Roman going to get this year? This has got to be Roman's 5th return in 2025 alone. How many times is this guy going to get beaten up and then, just return and then, get a cheap pop and then just do a bunch of stuff, just a bunch of random stuff for about a month and then leave again and then come back 3 months later and do the same thing over and over again? How many times? But obviously, that's a super obvious issue. If you have the critical thinking of a 5-year-old, then you're going to understand that, you're going to notice that. But let me talk about the bigger problem here. Triple H is relying on past success. And what was Triple H's biggest success, huh? Has there ever been a story in the Triple H era that felt like, oh my God, this is peak, and a lot of fans loved it, but the majority of the fans loved it and called it peak? Obviously, it was the Bloodline story. That's what, brought WWE to the promised land. That's what made WWE, this popular again. And let's be honest here, Triple H would have done the bare minimum here. Most of the heavy lifting was done by Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, Sami Zayn, and all those guys themselves. And now, in September 2025, Triple H is still doing the same thing. Why are we teasing a split between the Usos? We told that story already less than 2 years ago. Why are we telling the story of Roman Reigns advising Jey Uso to be aggressive, to, do whatever it takes to represent the family at the highest level? Why are we doing this when we literally did the exact same thing 5 years ago? It's clear that Triple H just realized that the Bloodline story was where he peaked, Maybe the Bloodline and Cody story as well, but you get the point. The Bloodline story is what brought WWE this amount of success in the first place, That brought them to the promised land, and now WWE is just relying on the same thing again. Triple H is just copying and pasting the same thing, thinking he can get something great now in 2025, when he really cannot, because we are tired of this. It's 2025. Nobody cares about Bloodline lore anymore. Nobody cares about the Usos lore anymore. Nobody cares about this. And then what else, huh? Rollins and Cody? Rollins and Cody is just the same things again, man. The same thing they did in 2022. Rollins being like, oh, you left us, Cody. You left us when things got rough, but I stayed here and I carried this company on my back while you were gone. You were talking shit about this company. Like, who cares? We did this already in 2022, and guess what? We are still doing the same thing with Rollins and Punk right now. That's an ongoing story, and we're telling the same story again. And don't even get me started on the Brock Lesnar stuff. Why is Cody Rhodes bringing up Brock Lesnar? Obviously, they're trying to tease that Brock Lesnar is going to interfere in this match, which I think is a terrible idea, by the way. But the point is, this is just the same thing again, man. We saw this with Roman, Paul, and Brock, back in 2021 or 2022, where Roman Reigns was like, wise man, did you know that Brock was going to be here? Did you know that Brock was going to be here? Did you know that Brock was going to say this? Like, you get the point. Every single week, it was the same thing over and over again. Where does Paul Heyman's allegiance lie? And now they're doing the same thing with, Cody, Seth, and Paul. Cody Rhodes being like, so, Seth Rollins, do you know that Paul Heyman is now back with Brock? Like, who cares? Who cares? Nobody cares about Paul Heyman guy lore in 2025. We are not even focusing on exploring the dynamic with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes at all. We're not exploring how to, evolve that story. Like, the story they tell, I can't talk today, man. The story they told in 2022. And now the story they told in 2024 when they were teammates. And now Seth Rollins is a heel. So what is their dynamic going to be like now? None of that stuff. The story doesn't evolve. It doesn't do anything. It's just the same thing. Oh, I hate you, but I still respect you. I still respect you. But I am going to beat you. I am going to beat you. That's pretty much it. Whatever, man. I'm going to review the show. There's really nothing to talk about here. But obviously, I just got to do it, So, yeah, let's get into this show, Monday Night Raw. The show kicks off with Rhea Ripley. And, oh, man, come on. You guys know how I feel about this story, you know, with the Kabuki Warriors and Rhea Ripley and Io Sky and all that stuff. I do not care about it. I think it's absolutely stupid if you ask me. First of all, the whole premise of it, the fact that Asuka is like, you know, like what, possessive over Io Sky just because she was like, what, tag teaming with Rhea Ripley? That's stupid as hell in my opinion, you know. And Rhea Ripley just says a bunch of nothing, you know. She's just like, oh, I want my revenge. Kabuki Warriors come and get me. Yay. That's pretty much it, you know. And then we see Io Sky. And, you know, it's like the worst acting ever, man. Like, come on. Do I feel bad saying that? Yes, I do. But I feel like that's the reason why a lot of people don't criticize this. They just feel bad, you know. But I'm sorry, the whole thing with Io Sky crying and stuff and, you know, saying like she's upset. And then, you know, Kairi Sane's acting and stuff like that. It's really corny, man. Like, I'm sorry. It's really corny. There's no way you can look at me dead in the eye and tell me that, wow, this is awesome. There's no way. There's no way you can watch this with a straight face and say, yeah, man, this is a peak. I love this. Like, what the hell? Dude, imagine like one of your non-wrestling fans, non-wrestling fan friends, like walk in and when you're watching this, they're like, what the hell is this, man? What the hell are you watching? I'm sorry, man, but this was not it. This is corny as hell. There's no way you think this is anything but corny as hell. But anyways, yeah, well, you know, Kairi Sane and Kairi Sane and, you know, Io Sky, you know, they have this kind of drama where, you know, they still have a soft spot for one another. And, Io Sky gets distracted from that. And Asuka just, like, missed Io Sky. And that's pretty much it for this segment. Really corny, really cheesy. I do not like this whatsoever, right? Let's just get that out of the way. Let's just move on. Anyways, then we see Rusev and Dominic Mysterio. And, like, who cares, man? Who cares? Rusev is just irrelevant at this point. They just brought him back for no reason whatsoever. So yeah, whatever. You know, we get this match. It was pretty much nothing. Dominic Mysterio tries to cheat like 300 times. And then eventually he succeeds. And, you know, that's pretty much it. This whole like Dominic Mysterio stuff is really getting old, guys. I'm sorry, you know. He's just been doing the same thing for like 2 years now. It's like, come on, man. We get it. Like, yeah, it was cool at first. But now it's just like, come on, man. It's just the same things over and over again. It's like how, you know, a little kid, when he does a cartwheel, it's like the coolest thing ever, and he's like showing everybody, and you're like, yeah, that's awesome, yay, keep it going, yay. And then they do it again, and you're like, yay, okay, that's cool. And they do it again, and you're like, yeah, okay, that's cool. And then they do it again, and you're like, all right, come on, man. Come on, we get the point, all right? That's how I feel about this whole Dominic Mysterio stuff. Like, I thought we'd actually be heading somewhere after WrestleMania, you know, where he pinned Finn Balor to win the IC title. I thought we'd do a split right there and stuff like that, but we're still dragging the story. We're still dragging. Well, whatever, man. Let's just move on. Nobody cares about this anyways. Anyways, then we see Bayley versus Raquel Rodriguez, and this is the same thing as last week, guys. But last week we had Bayley and Roxanne Perez, and now instead of Roxanne Perez, we got Raquel Rodriguez. Pretty much it was the same thing as last week, but the roles were reversed, pretty much. You know, that's pretty much it. Like, there's literally no difference whatsoever. All we did was the same thing. Lara Valkyria interferes. Bayley goes crazy. She does the stupid, you know, like split personality stuff. Who cares? It's the same thing. There's no progression whatsoever. Every single week it's the same goddamn thing over and over and over again. Triple H is the laziest booker of all time, man. He's the laziest booker ever. Every single time he just does the bare minimum just for that one show alone. He doesn't think of anything new. He doesn't think of, you know, how he can evolve the stories. He doesn't think about how he can evolve the dynamics between his characters. Nothing. And he damn sure doesn't care about creating new stars. Because Roxanne Perez has been getting pinned like, you know, I don't even know how many times at this point. She's pretty much buried at this point. Like, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say that, you know. Like, yeah, I get it. The word gets thrown around a lot, you know, the word buried. But think about it. What has she done on the main roster? They've been using her as a pin eater for the Judgment Day. And I know some of y'all are going to say, well, she's in the Judgment Day, though. That means she's being pushed, right? No. The Judgment Day is just a jobber faction at this point. Nobody cares about the Judgment Day in 2025. Let's be honest here. So anyways, yeah, man, there's really nothing to talk about here. Obviously, you know, Lara Valkyria interferes to help Bayley and stuff like that. And then Bayley goes crazy and then beats up everybody. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, whatever. Let's just move on. Anyways, then we get LA Knight versus Kofi Kingston. Why? What the hell is this match? Give me one good reason why we need to have LA Knight versus Kofi Kingston in the year of 2025 in September on a Monday Night Raw. Tell me. And if your answer is anything other than no, then I'm sorry, man, you just got problems, right? Because this match is so random, nobody cares about it. So yeah, obviously LA Knight wins, and let's just move on, man. There's really nothing to talk about here. Anyways, then we see Seth Rollins, and it's like, oh my god, dude. Oh my god, this dude is the god of yapping. That's all this guy does anymore. You know, it's just the same things over and over again. You know, he's like, I have done everything right. I have been in this company for so long. I've worked so hard. I've carried it on my back. Like, we heard this before in 2022. And guess what? We've been hearing it since 2023 as well because of your feud with CM Punk. You say the same thing. You said the same thing in your Cody feud back in 2022, and you've been saying the same thing in the Punk feud that's been going on for 2 years now. We don't need to hear you say it again now. Nobody cares about this. Just move on, man. Let's evolve here. What's next in the story? Let's evolve. Just because something works doesn't mean you keep doing it over and over and over and over and over again. The point of a story is that it progresses. It needs to progress. And anyways, then Cody Rhodes comes out here and looks like a complete idiot. What is this guy even talking about anymore, man? He's like, I thought we were friends, Seth. I thought we were friends. Like, you guys literally agreed to, to one another that you guys can hate each other like 364 days of the year, but that one day where you guys team up, you are going to have your backs. You guys made that clear at War Games in 2023 and at WrestleMania in 2024. You guys made it crystal clear. We still don't get along. We still hate each other. But for the greater good, we got to team up. We've made that clear so many times. And now Cody Rhodes is coming out here saying, I thought we were friends, Seth. I thought we were friends. Like, come on, man. And even then, why do you care if you guys are not friends? You're the WWE champion, you're the face of the company, and this whole arc with Cody Rhodes in the past year or so is that he's been losing friends after friends after friends after friends to a point where CM Punk said, look, man, this is the thing about being the WWE champion, you're going to lose a lot of friends. That was supposed to be Cody Rhodes' arc, and it seems like he still hasn't learned that lesson, He still hasn't learned that, being the face of the company comes with a price. So what story are we telling here with Cody Rhodes? He looks like a complete idiot. He keeps getting turned on. Wait a minute. Pause. Yeah, he keeps getting turned on by his friends, quote unquote. And he seems to never learn the lesson that is the price of being the WWE champion and the face of the company. Every single time he's like, oh my God, I'm so hurt. I thought we were friends. I thought we had something special. No, like, come on, man. Just move on. And don't even get me started on the Brock Lesnar stuff. I mean, I talked about it anyways, The fact that Cody Rhodes is bringing up Brock Lesnar at all in this whole thing, it's sickening, man. It's absolutely sickening. Cody Rhodes should be going out there saying, hey, look, I know that the odds are not in my favor at Crown Jewel. I know that you have 3 goons and I have nobody by my side. I know that I can lose to Seth Rollins because of the Vision shenanigans. But here's a little thing about Seth. If you really do beat me that way, then is that really good? Is that really what you want your legacy to be? The guy that lost to Cody Rhodes 3 times, one of the times with a torn pec, by the way, when Cody Rhodes had a torn pec. And now, in order to get his first win against Cody Rhodes, he had to resort to getting help from 3 of his goons, or maybe even Brock Lesnar, the Beast. He needed the Beast's help to beat me like that. That's the kind of, legacy you want to leave behind? If you really think you're better than me, if you really think you're good enough to be in my position, then beat me one-on-one clean. Guess how many people have beat me clean ever since I came back to WWE, huh? Guess how many? 0. And if you are that one, I will admit 100% that you are 100% capable of being in my position. That's what Seth Rollins should be saying. He shouldn't be like, oh, what about Brock Lesnar? Is he going to interfere? Do you know about him? Instead, he should be like, no, man, guess what? I don't care. You can't have Brock Lesnar in your back pocket if you want. You can't have Braun Strowman and Braun Breaker if you want. I will still, persevere. I will still fight. But if I lose, it's your legacy that's going to be tarnished. That right there. That should be the story you're telling. And guess what, guys? This is not even something that I wrote down and I'm reading off the script right now, This is just me talking out of my ass. This is just me coming up with it on the spot. I can come up with something better than Triple H on the spot. And these guys are a billion-dollar company with so many resources, so much time, and they still cannot come up with something remotely decent? Are you kidding me, man? Get out of here. This guy sucks, man. Triple H just sucks. So anyways, yeah, this promo was just a bunch of nothing, We really get nothing in this promo. I'm absolutely hating this story with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes right now. From an in-ring standpoint as well, I mean, I don't really have high hopes for it again, Yes, Cody Rhodes and, Seth Rollins are capable of putting on a classic, but I think they're going to do some weird shenanigans. They're going to have Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed interfere. They're going to have Brock Lesnar interfere and all that stuff. And I think it's going to be absolutely stupid. So anyways, yeah, with that being said, let's just move on. Anyways, then we get AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus, Los Americanos, I'm pretty sure their name is. And it's like, come on, man. What are we doing with Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, man? But yeah, whatever, man. Who cares anyways? At this point, I just don't care, man. So yeah, there's really nothing to talk about here. Obviously, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee win. Do they even win? I don't even remember, man. I don't even remember at this point. This whole El Grande Americano thing is really getting old. So you know what? I don't even care. Let's just move on. And now it's time for the main event. It is Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker versus the Usos in a tornado tag match. Now, here's the thing. I am glad that it's a tornado tag match. Finally, we're mixing it up and stuff like that. But, come on, man. I just can't get myself to be remotely excited about any kind of, any version of a match between, either the Usos or, LA Knight or, Sami Zayn or whatever babyface versus, Seth Rollins division and all those guys. I don't even care anymore, man. I really don't. So yeah, while this match did, it did have some cool stuff, I don't care. I genuinely don't care. And if you do care about this, then I'm sorry, man. It's like, come on. Just get Triple H's dick out of your mouth, man. So anyways, yeah, obviously Roman Reigns returns in the end. And it's like, yeah, bro. Who cares? We've done this like a million times already. Every single time, man. Every single time. The one Uso is getting beaten up. And then, everyone's like, oh my god, Bronson Reed is going for the tsunami. Oh no. It's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. There's no way Triple H is actually getting away with this. Because people are actually glazing this like, oh my god, Chief, yay, my Chief is back. Like, what the hell? These kind of fans are the reason why WWE is so ass right now. Because they get away with everything. And I mean everything. So yeah, man, I really thought, and I never thought I'd say this, but even though Roman Reigns returned, there's really nothing to talk about here. Because everything there was to talk about, I did talk about it already, about how, this is just copy-pasted garbage here. This whole, news story they're telling with the Bloodline, without, Jey Uso's probably going to turn heel. Come on, man, let's be honest here. It's just the same thing. They're teasing the Usos splitting up in the year 2025, when we literally got that in 2024. I'm sick and tired of this, man. I'm just going to end the review right here. I'm going to give this show, I don't even know, man, a 1.5 out of 10. And obviously, we got to give it a Jey Uso tax because, Jey Uso was in the main event. So this show gets a 0.5 out of 10. Yeah, that's right, guys. Get out of here. And yeah, guys, that is it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. That is it. I said that already. Dude, this video got me bugging, dude. So anyways, yeah, that is it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out.